What was the first year in the Big Ten like? I know, a lot of different programs had to adjust. Coach Tarr was just in here talking about the travel and the amount of opponents that you guys face. Just for you as a player, what was year one in the Big Ten like? Whether that was, the different travel, the opponents, whatever you might take from, that inaugural season in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little biased towards the Big Ten because I'm from Iowa. So there was a couple of times my family, my dad and brother got to come down and watch me, which was super special just because my freshman year when we were in the Pac-12, they hadn't had the opportunity to do that since it's 30 hours from Iowa. So yeah, I'm a little biased towards it. I really love it. I think the travel's all worth it when you have people that you really love, like traveling with. And luckily, like UW is a big university and they treat us pretty well when it comes to flying and stuff like that. So yeah, I loved it. I think it was great. I think especially having like a new team atmosphere and then also starting a new like Big Ten approach, I think all the newness together just flowed really well. But I loved it.
What led to your improvement at the plate? A lot of your numbers jump up. Obviously, getting more playing time, I'm sure, helped that. I think you played in every game last year. But was it just, watching your own swing, going to anybody to talk about it? What helped you, take this pretty significant leap offensively this past year?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that just helped me physically and mentally. I think, of course, it's the getting bigger, faster, stronger, over the summer and lifting and hitting and doing all of those things. I hit back home with my hitting coach, Trey Hannum, so he kind of got me dialed in, and him and Jen kind of talk about the same thing. So also like hearing Jen's perspective just really helped me as well, just kind of connect the dots. But I think when you're given opportunities, you can either like produce or you don't produce, and luckily I produce. So yeah, I just think like Coach Tarr giving me the opportunity to like be a leader on this team, and I knew coming into this year with only 4 of us returning and 2 of us that have actually like played that were returning, I knew that I could either put all of it on my shoulders and feel like everything is kind of like pushing me down and I have to be this certain person that people look up to, or I can just be myself. And yeah, I think the coaches allowed me to do that, so I'm just super thankful for the opportunity, and hopefully I can continue to do that this year.
You talk about Jen. It's not to at all downplay what Coach Tarr has done, because there's a lot that she's done.
Mm-hmm.
But to have players that were under her in the program come back and coach, does that say anything to you as a player? I don't know if that played a role. It was interesting reading about your recruitment,
Mm-hmm.
but to have Jen, to have Courtney, Sis spent some time here as a coach. Just I don't know. What does that say to you about Coach Tarr or the program, or both? Just the fact that they're athletes that succeeded here as a player that want to come back and invest in the future Huskies coming through the ranks as a coach.
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes of Coach Tarr's leadership and just what she's done with this program over the years that she's been coaching. I would never want to leave, and I mean, I think that still stands true today based on the 4 people who stayed. But as long as Coach Tarr's here and as long as she's leading this program, I think that it's going to continue to do wonders in the softball world. But yeah, I think there's a certain depth to this program that isn't like understood until you're in it. And I think once you're in it, you're like in it for good. And I think like those people who, Jen was at UCF and doing her thing, and then she ended up coming back here. And I think it's because like no other program is like it is here. And Coach Tarr's really built that from the ground up. So I think that, yeah, there's just a depth to this place, and it's understood once you're a part of it. But yeah.
Get back to you. When did you decide that you wanted to become a catcher? Because it's an unforgiving position. There's a lot that goes into that. It's maybe it's just me, but talking to a few catchers, there's always this stoicness about you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When did it click? Was it someone you watched? Was it a family member? Just how did you become a catcher? And what sort of mentality do you take as a catcher? Because I've heard a few, it just seems very selfless. You serve the pitching staff, you're very selfless in that regard as a position. So just, yeah, how did you become a catcher and your mindset behind the plate?
Yeah, so my dad was a catcher all growing up, and I want to say I started catching when I was about 9 or 10. And I remember I told him I want to start catching, and he was like, "No, you don't. No, you don't." And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And for like a couple weeks straight, he was giving me like the hardest stuff to do catching to try and make me be like, "No, I don't want to catch." But I ended up sticking with it. I love a challenge. So yeah, it just really stuck, and I just continued to get better at it and continued to use my resources and just try and be the best catcher I could be. But I think along with like a lot of other positions, like catching comes with like a huge leadership role, and I've always been one to like try and like be the leader. Like that's just like I'm the oldest sibling, so I feel like maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, I love being a leader. I love being the voice of the infield, or one of them at least. I like being able to connect and see everything that's in front of me, and just kind of have like a leadership role on the field without having to say it. But yeah, I love everything about it.
Playing for Coach Tarr, talked about her staff, just, I know, I think in your recruitment talked about how Washington, how welcoming she was, how this was a place that, I think it was the culture that you talked about, just playing for her. What has it been like, the last few years, because obviously she's a legendary coach, establishing this program, so on and so forth. Just what has your experience been like under Coach Tarr?
Yeah, I think a lot of people talk about like obviously her coaching ability and just how professional she is and her wins and such, but I just like, as a human being, she's so awesome. Like just seeing her personal life and like her cats and like just like I love her, and I love who she is when softball isn't involved, and I love who she is when softball is involved. So I think that's super important when it comes to a program, and especially a head coach, is just being able to understand that they're like human beings too, because I think sometimes it can, when you see them on TV, you're like, oh, she looks so intimidating. So but like she's a human being, and she's so awesome, and yeah, I truly wouldn't want to play for anybody else. And I've learned so much from her just as a person, and also in the softball world, and I think just like continuing to do that, it's going to be so awesome. And she's taught me a lot about leadership as she's taken on, the leadership of Washington softball, and trying to instill that in her players and in her coaches. So yeah, I'm just super grateful for that. I'm super grateful to continue to learn from her, and hopefully squeeze all the knowledge out of her that I can in the next 2 years, and maybe come back and learn some more.
Is it cool at all for you? I believe the quote was that you were the first Husky from Iowa for her. Does that hold anything, or is it just a cool little tidbit to have?
Yeah, I think it's super cool. And I know her mom, I think was from the Des Moines area, which is in Iowa. So when she was recruiting me, we were talking about how she has some family up there, and it's super awesome to really show like the Midwest roots, and continue to, show girls from Iowa that they can come 30 hours away and play softball. And yeah, it's super fun. We have another girl from Iowa, Zuri Patterson, who played for my program. So it's cool to see like it all trickle down. And Alexis DeBoer is from South Dakota, which is not too far away. So it's good to see that, the Californias and the Texases and the Washingtons aren't like ruling the world when it comes to softball. There's some really rich soil in the Midwest, and I think she sees that, so it's cool.
To kind of build off the, talk about across the nation, I don't know how much you've been keeping track of it in the off season, but with the AUSL having its inaugural year coming here, just, obviously you've got your college career to focus on now, but just from your perspective, how cool has it been to see that league go through its first year? I know Athletes Unlimited has done some softball stuff before, but just to see this league now to, I know there are some other leagues, I think internationally, that some of the, even the women behind you that have gone on to, but to have one here in the States, to potentially play maybe one day in front of, your family at the pro level. Just, can you speak to the AOSL in its inaugural year and how cool that's been to watch as it's grown?
Yeah, I think it's super awesome, and I talk about it all the time with younger girls that I teach for lessons and whatnot, just how much women's sports have grown when they've been given the platform to grow. And it's super cool to, when I was 9, 10, 11 years old, that wasn't a thing. And like being able to like grow up and now strive to maybe, that's an option for me, like continue to get my degree and maybe go into the workforce, or also play pro. And like it's so cool that that's an option for girls now, and for girls my age, and also just to continue to see like these younger girls that are like, hey, USL, like I want to play just like Bailey Klingler, I want to be just like Sis Bates, and continuing to like hear those names through the softball world is so awesome, just because they're super rich to UW. But yeah, I think it's awesome, and just continuing to watch it grow. And even in the next 2 years while I'm still in college, like how much bigger is it going to get? And hopefully it's pretty big. So yeah, I think it's super awesome, just the platform that they've given women in athletics in general, but also softball. But it's awesome. I'm excited.
And to close you out, what excites you most about the upcoming season? Is it simply just getting back out there? Is it, working with your pitching staff? Not pitching. Whatever it may be, just, maybe looking to build off what you guys did this past year in the Big Ten, whatever it may be. What excites you most about the 25-26 season?
Yeah, I think just continuing to get back out there. I think last year was definitely a season for like trials and tribulations as far as it came to like leadership and only having, a handful of girls that really knew the Husky way. And now we have, more of that. So it's going to be super awesome to watch the girls that, we've taught the Husky way to teach others, and just kind of continue to watch that happen throughout the years. But I'm excited to win a national championship, and yeah, I'm going to add to the back of that wall. But yeah, I'm just super excited to continue to get back out there and yeah, play some softball.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how about them Huskies?
Ooh, purple and gold, baby.
Yeah. When are you going to watch all those away games, though?
All those away games. There are a lot of them, and I was hoping to come to Rough and Tumble because this is the home of Circling Saddle Sports. If that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Hope to see you all here.